Anybody that's in cybersecurity, that is boring.
Coding Phase had some comments about those of us working in cybersecurity, IT, or pretty much any job outside of coding. Now, give my disclaimer, I'm not a coder. I'm not a programmer. That's not what I do. I posted in my community tab a video from a YouTuber named LS3. He is a coder, so it's a dude I interact with on YouTube quite often. He just started off his IT tech channel where he's into the whole programming and coding and all that. Like, that's his lane. So anytime people ask me about coding, and look, that's not my lane. My lane is I mostly came up doing networking, dealing with routers and switches. Started off at the help desk, transitioned to a networking role, and I've actually taught IT. I taught it in the military. I used to work for a company where I used to help design the databases for the company. I wasn't a database developer, but I designed the information, the structures that the database developers would use to build for the databases. And, like I said, I've taught IT. So I've got a wider range of experiences and some other stuff in between, but mostly help desk for a couple years and then mostly networking, like I say, dealing with routers and switches and all that stuff. That's mostly my background. Now, some people will be like, well, if your background is mostly networking, why do you come on here preaching cybersecurity? The reason why is because I want you guys to make money. That's the reason why. I want you guys to go out there and make some money. I'm not saying that you can't make money coming up the networking path, because when I came up in IT in the early 2000s, I got started in 2002. As a matter of fact, you can go watch my video on YouTube, or you can go to my website, Technology G, and you can click the About button, and I posted a video up there explaining my professional background. But anyways, when I was coming up in IT, networking was the thing. Getting your CCNA was like the gold standard. Then probably around before 2010-ish, around that time frame, that's when everything started leaning more towards cybersecurity and cloud type of stuff. And so fast forward to the present day, I don't really run around preaching and teaching everybody getting into networking, learning routers and switches, although I do teach it to students that, sign up for my courses and whatever. But I still try to steer people towards cybersecurity because there's a lot of money to be made in cybersecurity. There's a overabundance of jobs out there in cybersecurity. And I mean, you can really get paid because of all the various threats and things that are going on in the digital world. You can really make some money doing cybersecurity and cloud development and all that stuff. And plus, another thing with networking, it can bleed over into cybersecurity. So just because you learn networking skills, that doesn't mean that stuff isn't transferable over into helping you be successful in the cybersecurity realm. So that's why my message, like if you see my little opening video, it says cybersecurity. The stuff that I teach can funnel you or feed you directly into eventually getting a cybersecurity role. Even though I came up from networking, but there's just more money to be made in cybersecurity. But regardless, the same things that I had to learn doing networking are the same things a lot of people learn if they decide to go into cybersecurity. So that's why I personally preach cybersecurity. But anyways, my man's here whipping bricks. He wants me to review this video. Like I say, I don't know who this brother is. My first time seeing him. His name is Coding Phase. And Coding Phase had some interesting comments about cybersecurity. So we're going to go ahead and check it out, see what we're here talking about.
Test automation is boring, yes. Talking about that, I had another conversation. Getting to talk to people, it's amazing. The way how I think is completely different than a lot of people. I had another girl come in. We had a conversation this week, blah, blah, blah. And she telling me about she wants to do cybersecurity. I'm sorry to say to you guys, anybody that's in cybersecurity or thinking about cybersecurity, that shit is boring. That shit is the most boring job you could think of. Anything that has to do with IT, DevOps, cybersecurity, that shit is boring. And you're always going to need a company to come and give you a check.
You heard him. He says cybersecurity, DevOps, any of that stuff is pretty much boring. Now, like I just said in my opening monologue, I actually agree with them. I actually agree. The thing is, when it comes to cybersecurity, especially when you're dealing with a bunch of newbies, a lot of newbies into IT, they get their ideas about cybersecurity based off of what they see in TVs and movies. They might go watch, what's a good IT cybersecurity movie? I'm trying to think of one off the top of my head. I don't know. Anyways, they'll think of some IT movie where you got somebody climbing, rappelling from the rafters, doing backflips over laser beams so that they can go into the data center, secretly plug some stuff up, and put a network tap on something. Then they walk out in their suit and tie and they're back at the party like they're James Bond. Or they watch a movie of some hacker or some random IT person. They're sitting in this room with glowing LED lights all over the place, and they're just click clacking and typing away, yada yada yada, breaking into stuff in milliseconds. They think that's the life of the average IT person or the cybersecurity person. No, that's not the life of the average IT person. You know what the life of the average IT, I'm just going to say cybersecurity person or whatever. You know what the life of the average cybersecurity person is? You go to work, you log into your systems, you run your checks, put your reports together, go attend a stand-up meeting talking about whatever the heck happened on the network the night before, the shift before, and what all training that you got coming down. If you got to, do some type of company-wide training, got to do this, you got to do that. Go back to your desk. You got your systems up here on one monitor. You got your ticketing system over here. Another monitor, you got your SIEM system or your SIM system over here. Another monitor, you got some other system over here. You got Snort or something open over here. You got all these little systems. And then you got another system where you got Amazon, YouTube, Netflix, or whatever the heck it is that you're into looking at and surfing on the internet. Here's the thing. Out of all those monitors, which monitor do you think the average IT cybersecurity person is going to spend most of his or her time staring at? The majority of the time, they're going to be staring at the monitor that has YouTube videos on it. Or they're over there shopping on Amazon. Or they're over here looking at whatever the heck it is that they're looking at. That's just the life. Yeah, somebody said Mission Impossible, war games, all that stuff. Most people who work in those roles, you're not doing some Mission Impossible war games type of stuff where you're out there saving the world, trying to prevent somebody from North Korea from stealing the nuclear codes and all this crap. Like I said, I used to work at the NSA, the National Security Agency. That building stayed getting cyber attacks about 1,000 million times a day. It is a high value target building in America. We were like high value targets. And when I say we, I'm not just talking about the building. I'm even talking about the personnel that worked in the building. Like we would come out the building. We were always told to be on the lookout for people who are just randomly trying to become our friends because they're trying to befriend us so that they can try to bribe us or try to get us to get some information, some top secret information and bring it about the building. Next thing you know, we be in handcuffs going to Fort Leavenworth somewhere. Like, I mean, that was a real thing. That was a real threat. But even when we was inside the building, I'm the IT person, one of the many IT people. We see these threats coming in all day long. And then when the threats come in, if the stuff ain't automated to deal with it because we got a system in place that'll just knock it out or report it, whatever, we click clack on a couple things, make sure the red lights turn back to green or whatever the case may be. And guess what? I'm back to watching YouTube, baby. So I spent the whole good 3 years just, all right, something happened. Click, 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 click. Let me do up a little report real quick. Boom. All right, let me get back to these random cat videos on YouTube or whatever the heck it is I was looking at back in the day. Waiting for the clock to run out so I can go outside and breathe some fresh air, hop on my motorcycle and go home. You know what I'm saying? Like that was life. I wasn't in there doing some old sci-fi stuff with the neon lights everywhere, cracking codes and the president of the United States coming down because I saved the world type of stuff. I was doing some boring stuff, but the paychecks were cool. Now, even though I was in the Army at the time, I used to work with obviously a bunch of civilians as well. And, some of them made just about as much as me. Some of them made more because they were civilians and all that stuff. But overall, everybody was kind of bored. But when it was time to go cash paychecks, especially for the civilian contractors, a lot of them were living their best lives. Like, especially when I went overseas, when I got deployed, even when I was deployed to Afghanistan. Now, that was a little different. We had quote unquote fun. And you're like, what was the fun you had in Afghanistan? The fun was hoping I didn't get shot that day. Hoping that when this whistle sound flew over my head, which was an RPG, hoping it didn't land and hit my damn work area or my sleeping quarters and blow me to smithereens. That was kind of fun in a weird PTSD type of way. When all that stuff died down, after the Taliban decided, all right, we're going to take a break from shooting at people and launching RPGs, I would go to my office, man, and guess what? Load up my systems, check what I got to check, do my reports, do my stand-up meetings, get my briefs, yada, yada, yada. And then guess what? I'm going into the back room and I'm cutting on the damn, because we had like a little break area with like a 50-inch flat screen back there. And guess what? It's video game time. We in there getting it. You know what I'm saying? Until waiting for something to break down. Like that was life. And me and my civilian contractor buddies, we were cashing our checks. making it do what it do. But yes, the work was kind of boring. So like I said, I say all to say, when people come into IT, newbies, they see these things on TV, but we got to stay focused here. What are we trying to do in IT? Most of us are trying to earn a lot of money so that we can finance and support our lifestyles, so we can go out there and buy up all the Jordan shoes, go on all the cruises, buy all the cars that, you know, our paychecks can afford, and live a comfortable life. To most of us, this is just a job. This is just a way to make ends meet. This is a guaranteed paycheck, so we could take that money and apply it towards other endeavors. That's why a lot of us do this, or at least the people that I know. Because I'll be honest with you, I'm not one of these people that's in love with IT like that. I'm in love with the income earning potential. And yes, I am good at what I do, but it's not like I wake up every single day and I got IT on the brain. As soon as I wake up, I'm like, IT, cybersecurity, nah, that's not me, man. Now, when the paychecks hit, it might be a little different. I'll be like, thank God for the IT paycheck.